Hi everyone, welcome to Crack Grade B. In this lecture we are going to talk about how we can write effective letters for NABARD Grade A examination. As you all know that the phase 2 of NABARD Grade A exam entails the descriptive English portion in which there is a question regarding the letter writing. So in order to get good chunk of marks, you all know that the effective letters are very much essential, and you have to have certain standards in your head that what kind of a structured format is needed for a specific letter to be written in the actual examination, so that you will be able to get good marks in the exam. So that is why we are going to talk about some of the important things that are needed to be kept in your head while attempting these kind of questions. So let's move on to the basics first. We are going to talk about the types of letters which are asked in the examination. So as you all know that the letters which are basically asked in the examination are of two types. First is the formal letter and the second is the informal letter. So the formal letter, as you all know, as the name suggests, some kind of formal gesture is needed to be written in the letter so that it is very much significant that yes, this letter is formal. Suppose you work in an organization and you have a demand, or let's say you have a request to a person who is superior to you. Definitely if you are in an organization, you have to write a formal letter in order to convey your issues, convey your concerns, convey your requests or your proposals, whatever your situation is. So that kind of letter is basically formal. Suppose you are a general citizen and you need to write down to the government, or let's say the municipality, to bring their attention to a certain concern. For example, let's say you are living in an area where there is a huge outbreak of this sewage, and you need to bring the attention of municipality that yes, the sewage is overflowing and you need to check it out. So that is why you will actually need a formal letter to convey your request or convey your concern. So these kind of letters in which any organization, whether government or private organization is concerned, in which you as the entity involved in that organization or a general citizen who actually want to bring the attention of that particular organization into a certain concern, will be basically inside the formal letters. Also, let's say you are a citizen and you need to talk about a concern in the editorial of a newspaper, then that letter, the letter in which you will convey your concern, will also be in the formal letter. So this was the basic thing that you need to understand before going further into the format of the formal and informal letters. Second is the informal letter. As the name suggests, there is not much formality in writing that letter. That means that whether you are congratulating your brother for his birthday, or let's say he came first in class, so you want to congratulate him, or let's say your sister has topped in the university, so you want to congratulate her, or let's say there is some kind of informal conveyance of your expressions to a certain person who is not related to any organization, or let's say you are not publicly disclosing anything, you are just concerned about that particular person who is dear close to your self, and definitely in that kind of style you will be using the informal letters. So we are going to talk about some of the basic things here, and we are going to talk about the format of both these letters. So if you have a copy or a pen, definitely you can take those and keep all the points which I am going to mention here in mind, or you can write it down so that you will be able to understand what is the basic difference. So I will be talking about the informal and the formal letters. Let's start with the formal letters first. So here is a page. Basically the standard of writing any letter is nowadays from the left side. So anything which you are writing should start or end on the left side. What do I mean by that? Let's begin. So for the formal letter, the first thing that you need to write down is your personal address. For example, you are the person who is basically sending a letter to the editor of a newspaper regarding the monuments of India. Let's say the monuments which are in the nearby museum in your locality. So you want to basically convey your ideas or express your ideas regarding that particular issue in your letter. So for the formal letter, first of all you will write your address here, your own address of sender. First thing is that. Next thing, you will write the date on which you are basically writing the letter, and the third thing, you will be write the you will be writing the address of the editor to which you are sending the letter to. Suppose you are sending the letter to the bank manager to get a loan from him, so definitely you will be writing the address of the bank manager here. But since that would be also a formal letter, so the pattern will not change. The synchronicity, or basically the algorithm of the letter, it should not change. So first of all, the address of the sender, then the date, then address of the receiver. For example, if it is the editor or the bank or the government organization or the private organization, or let's say the municipality. So whatever is the receiver of that letter, you should write the address of the letter. After that, you must write the subject of the letter. For example, let's say you are writing the letter to the bank manager for receiving for demanding or requesting for a loan. So obviously you can write the subject requesting a loan, or whatever kind of issue you are having for which you are writing the letter, you have to write it down through subject. And after that, you have to give the salutations. For example, respected sir, or most respectfully, or respected sir basically, or ma'am, respected ma'am. So you can write it right here, and remember that everything which we have written, we are basically starting it from the left side of the paper. So you have to also consider this in your head, that everything is written to be in the left side and ending it also in the left side. Now you move on to the letter. So your first paragraph will be regarding the issue for which you are basically writing the letter. For example, this is to inform you that I wanted to bring your kind attention towards a particular issue. For example, let's say the overflowing of the sewage, for example, that I already took. So you can definitely write it down here, and after that you will leave a space. If you want to change a paragraph, definitely you have to leave one space, and after that you can move on to the paragraph and also start from the left hand side. So you will write down the full body or full concern, that what is the basic detailed concern that you are writing for, and after that, if you want to again change your paragraph, just press enter and just start typing. And after that, you will conclude that I want this thing to be raised everywhere, so that there is a kind of an awareness to a certain organization, or let's say this is my request for a loan, kindly grant me this loan and I will be highly obliged, or whatever kind of language you want to refer to according to the subject that you are writing the letter for. And after that, at the end of the letter, you will write just like a signing off. For example, let's say yours sincerely, or yours faithfully. You can write it like that, and after that you will just write your name, the sender's name, and if you want to write your contact, definitely you can write it. Obviously you don't have to write your own name, because that is not allowed in the examination. You are not supposed to write the actual information. What you need to write is the made up information. For example, let's say the address of the sender, if it is given in the letter, a formal letter which you are writing in the actual examination, you only have to write it like that. And if the address of the editor or address of the receiver is also given, then definitely you have to write it according to the question that has been asked. But if it is not given, then you have to make any address. For example, let's say XYZ, like this, or ABC or PQR. You can write it like that, and that will basically give an idea that yes, the person knows that firstly the address of the sender is given, then the date is given, then address of the editor or address of the receiver is basically given, then the subject is given, and after that you have given the salutations, then your introduction, that what are you writing about, then your whole body, which is basically detailing the subject of your letter, and after that your request or final conclusion, that what do you want from your essay to be from your letter to basically convey to the receiver. And after that you move on to the signing off statements like yours sincerely, or thanking you, thanks or regards, whatever you can write here. And after that your name. If this name of the sender is also given in the actual examination, you just have to write that name. And after that, if the detail is also given, that you can also write it down here. So this is basically the format of a formal letter writing. Remember this. The sequence here which I mentioned is very, very important, because if you are lacking in any of the sequence, then you will not be able to get good marks. A huge amount of deduction can be there. Also remember that if you are not using any punctuation marks in the address, for example, let's say you are writing the address as, let me erase this, let's say you are writing the address as KV Street, ABC 174289. For example, let's say this is a made up address. If you are not using any punctuation marks, for example, let's say you are not adding a comma here, you are not adding a comma here, you are not adding a full stop here, then in the whole essay, in the whole letter, you don't need to put these punctuation marks anywhere. If you have not used this comma, this comma or this full stop, you don't need to put it on the address of the receiver also. You don't need to put this comma on yours sincerely also. You don't need to put any comma or any full stop in anywhere. But if you have followed the details, for example, if you have followed the punctuation marks everywhere, then you need to put your punctuation marks everywhere. So my suggestion to you is don't use punctuation marks at all in the address section, because obviously that will be more helpful. It will reduce your chances of getting yourself, deducting of some of the good chunk of marks, because punctuation errors are also very much important in these kind of examinations, especially the descriptive English. So that is what I wanted to convey here. Let's move on to the formal section, informal section of the letters. So I told you this is nothing formal is there. This is the informal section. So you always start with the same. For example, you are the sender, you will write your address here, address of the sender. Here also your letter will start and end in the left hand side portion. Nothing will go in the right side. No, everything will be on the left side. So address of the sender will be there, and after that the date will be there. But in informal letters, you never write the address of the receiver. Remember that. Never write the address of receiver. Remember this. It's a very important information, because in informal letters, you are not required to write the address of the receiver at all. Okay, so first of all, the address of the sender, then the date on which you are writing the letter, and after that you just move on to the salutation, or let's say a gesture of respect or love or whatever. For example, dear Rahul. If the name is mentioned Rahul in the actual examination, then do write it. Otherwise, make up any name and write that name to which you are sending the letter to. For example, you have a brother named let's say Adam, and Adam has received a gold medal in his university. So you want to congratulate him on that particular occasion. So basically, you will write dear Adam here. But if no name is mentioned, definitely you can make up any name and you can write it down here. Or you can say dear XYZ. Anything you can write. But don't write your actual own name, okay? That will be, that will not be necessary, because that is not basically, it's basically frowned upon. So you need to keep all these things in mind. After that, you will basically start your letter that I got to know about your situation, that you have topped in this university, or let's say your birthday is coming near or whatever. You will basically introduce your letter here. After that, you will full on give the detailed information that I wanted to convey my best wishes to you, and may you succeed in life, and all of these blessings, or all of the issues that you want to convey through your letter. You will write it in detail. Also, by just pressing the enter and start typing from the extreme left. You don't need to give much spaces here. And after that, you move on to the ending, signing off situations. For example, yours sincerely, or yours truly, or anything that you want to write in that particular sense. So you can write it down here, and after that you will mention basically your name, which might be given in the question, but if it is not, you can definitely write any made up name, not your actual name, any made up name, the name of the sender. So this is the format here. Remember that in informal letter, you don't write the address of the receiver at all. You just write the address of the sender, the date, and directly write your salutation or the gesture of respect or love or whatever. And after that, you explain your letter to the person whom you are sending your letter to. And after that, you just write your sincerely, yours truly, your with love or whatever. And after that, you just write the name of the sender. Also, Since it is informal, there is no need to mention subject as well. Subject is not mentioned in the informal letters. Remember this. Subject is always mentioned in the formal letters. So these are the basic things that I wanted to convey in this video, because basic things are needed to be segregated for the formal and informal letter writing, because as you know that the quality is at par with the the actual thing that will happen in the organization. You will be working in NABARD eventually, and after working there, you will be writing various formal letters. So if you don't have the actual sense or the actual basic understanding or idea of how to write a formal letter, then definitely it will be of no use. And since basically they want to trial, it's basically a trial for yourself to get to know about what writing skills you are actually possessing and how much you are preparing for it. So all these points are basically important. Some of the things that I wanted to convey here are some of the do's and don'ts. I will basically start with the don'ts. Do's I've mostly discussed here. So never mention, I'm again repeating it, but remember, very important, never mention subject and address of the receiver in an informal letter. Informal letter. And what are the do's? Always mention the subject and the address of the receiver in a formal letter. Okay, very, very important. The next thing that you need to remember is that never start or end anything in the letter from the right hand side of the page. Okay, because it was a previous format, but now this format is not used. You might remember that in schools or colleges, basically according to the previous pattern of the letter writing, we were taught that yes, sometimes you wrote the address of the sender or the receiver on the right side, and after that you just write your letter, and after that you just give your salutations or signing off statements on the right side or on the left side. But you sometimes started on the left side, or vice versa could also have been the case. But now everything is to be started from the left hand side, nothing is to be moved. So that is what you need to remember, and it is the most important thing, which is very essential from examination point of view. So these are the things I wanted to convey. If you have any doubts regarding anything, you can definitely ask us. You have our details of our email IDs and phone numbers. Definitely we will be happy to help you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I always try to convey in a simple manner so that everything is sort of given in an easy language for you to understand. So keep all these things in mind, and remember that don't try to implement anything just because you have a certain feeling that you had previously known about it, because at the end of the day, the new pattern, the new format which we have discussed in this video is basically essential for you to understand. So thank you so much for watching this video. Have a wonderful day.